This is your morning brief for Monday, May 13th. A couple of new reports from us. One is entitled High Five for NV5, Rebounding After Q1 Earnings Release. So NV5 is a infrastructure engineering firm, and go have a look at that. I'm not going to give it away what we're saying there. Growth. The second report is growth at Globant continues, and I think that's a good little name too. That's more of an IT consulting kind of firm, and have a look at that one as well. So those are our two new reports for today. In other news, the futures are absolutely tumbling. It's absolutely brutal, down about 1.5%, and I can just tell you, sometimes the markets open up at a factor higher than that, a multiplicative effect. It's not great, and it's basically because China is now digging in their heels a little bit tougher on this trade war. It said they will never surrender. Those are tough words, and remember just a few weeks ago, oh, we're close, everyone's, everything's great, yeah, right. What a facade that was. Things are not good, and markets do not like it, and neither do I. And all I can say is eventually this will pass, and this is more of a buying opportunity. So let it come in, maybe go to cash for a little while, a little bit at least, and we'll find the spot to get back in more aggressively. In other China news, China auto sales dropped by 14% in April. That's a big number. Now, it's very interesting because the Toyota brand was actually up 16%, and there's a lot of dynamics going on here. Some of it's got to do with the trade war, absolutely, but there's another factor in here, and it's the government energy and emission standards are providing incentives for buyers to buy those more energy efficient and emissions, lower emissions cars. And these incentives, while good, people are actually the incentives are getting better and better and better. So people are actually waiting. So there's a little bit of a wait factor there, and it looks like some of these Toyota brands that are doing better, they're meeting those energy and emission standards a little bit faster than some of the North Americans. So these North American cars, first we got the trade problem, and second of all we got the not quite meeting the emissions and energy standards. So there's a definite headwind there. Okay, in the NBA, the Raptors won Game 7. It was unbelievable. Kawhi Leonard hits a series-winning shot. It was one of the most dramatic shots you've ever seen because it bounced around the rim 4 times before dropping in. And it was from distance, too. So typically, the further away you are, the less of a good bounce you normally get. It just usually clangs off or goes straight in. And this one bounced 4 times, and it was, like I said, from distance, which you wouldn't expect. So it was quite dramatic because as soon as it bounced, it went way up in the air. And like, you missed. And boink, 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 and dropped. And it was, pretty exciting if you're a Raptors fan. Obviously, very disappointing if you're a Sixers fan. But it was a fun game regardless. And Trailblazers win their Game 7 over the Nuggets. And maybe not quite as a dramatic of a finish, but it was also a very close nail-biter right down to the very, very bitter end as well. So two tough series. The Eastern and Western Conference Finals are set now. So let's see here. We got Trailblazers versus the Nuggets in the West, which is kind of interesting because the Curry brothers will be playing against each other. And in the East, of course, the Raptors we just talked about will be facing the Bucks, who were the number 1 team in the NBA. So that's pretty much the way I think most people would have thought the playoffs would play out, except for maybe you would expect Denver over Portland. It was a close one, though. It could have easily went the other way. All right, in the NHL, Bruins take a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Sharks take a 1-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals, so they're just getting underway. And that's all the news for your morning brief on Monday, May 13th. It's time to find some gems.